Evening, fellow Chelsea supporters. I hope you're all doing well, staying safe during these unfortunate times, wherever you are, whether you're in England, Australia, America, Germany, anywhere. Welcome to the Blue Day podcast live stream. This is the first time we've actually done it on here. So, for those of you that are here, thank you very much for joining us. I'm Keith Lawrence, one half of the hosting team for the Blue Day podcast. My partner in crime is on his break while he's recuperating from the busy schedule that he has had. Of course, I'm taking a sort of break from podcasting at the moment, but we will be back very soon. We will be announcing when we will be back. Excuse me. Try saying that when you're pissed. Hopefully very, very soon. An announcement will be made in the next coming days. But for this live stream, I just want to get as many Chelsea fans on here as possible to discuss what is happening with Chelsea Football Club at this moment in time. What's happening? So it's more of a state of address. Is there a concern? Is there just smoke and mirrors? Is there a problem? I want people to get involved with this. So if you're new to this, if you're new and haven't got a clue who the Blue Day podcast are, find us. We are obviously here on the Facebook page, the Blue Day podcast, but we are also on iTunes. So come and see our podcast or hear our podcasts on there. Find us on Twitter. Myself and my co-host, Warren, tweet numerous things as much as we can, so find us on there. We are also on YouTube. We've got over 100 odd videos on there already, so please come and find us on there, where we have classic highlights. We also have our podcasts on there as well for those that don't have iTunes. And find us on Instagram, where we also put numerous pictures. We also give birthday shout outs and numerous events that have happened over the period of the history with Chelsea. Just first of all, do you like the shirts? I thought they were quite appropriate for this live stream. Of course, the magician, that is Gianfranco Zola, and the champions of Europe. Move my head that way. There you go. Move my head that way. Champions of Europe in 2012. I've got obviously a few others that are in the magic wardrobe that I have uploaded onto Instagram and numerous other posts that I wear. But for those that do not know what the Blue Day podcast is about, it is a podcast by Chelsea fans for Chelsea fans. So it is for you. You come to us, listen to us, where we rant, we analyse, we go over numerous topics that are related to Chelsea Football Club, and we also have had great guests on the show. We have had the likes of Sean Wright-Phillips. We've had the likes of Ron Harris, Chelsea royalty. We won't forget our first guest, which was the chairman of the Chelsea pitch owners, Mr. Chris Isett. We had an interview with him back in September, and it was a very informative interview about the Chelsea pitch owners. So if you want to get involved with the CPO, please get in touch with them. But regards to the Blue Day podcast, this is something new, so bear with me on this one tonight. If I just put that, remember this top 0506 still fits like a glove. But so for this evening, I want people to get involved with us. So come and tell me how you feel about Chelsea Football Club. Come and tell me, vent your anger, vent your frustration, vent your support, whether you feel that Frank is still the right man for the job, or you feel that Frank is not the right man for the job. I was going to think of something else then, but if you feel Frank's not the right man for the job, come and tell us. Come and mention it on the posts. I'll read them out. If you've got any questions, if you've got any queries, hell, bring it out. This is what this video, this live stream is for. Just want to give a thought for my views on it. Now, bearing in mind, I've been a Chelsea fan since 1997, when the great Ruud Gullit and his team lifted the FA Cup, beating Middlesbrough, at Wembley. I've been a fan since then, so it's not a case of being a fan after Roman's millions. My thoughts on the situation is this. I still think Frank is the right man for the job until now. I still think Frank is the right man for the job for now. So excuse me. There's no one else that can come in to replace him. Who is there? If you look at someone like Thomas Tuchel, who didn't cut the mustard at PSG, couldn't handle big name players. As far as I'm aware, he also couldn't handle personalities in the boardroom. So that's already a downer when it comes to Roman Abramovich and Petr Cech. Of course, he's a director of football now. So for me, Thomas Tuchel's not the right man. The only reason why he would come in would be because of the German connection with Havertz and Werner. And for me, we've tried that before with the same nationalities with Benitez and Torres. That didn't work out. So Tuchel, don't even entertain the opportunity. Allegri, people I've heard the last 24 hours have mentioned about Allegri. He would be okay. His style of football might not be brilliant, but it's winning football. But I still feel Frank is the right man for the job. Listen, we've gone through shitloads of managers we've gone through. The likes of AVB, Scolari, Conte, who was successful. We've gone through a whole host. Avram Grant, remember him? Avram bloody Grant. Gone through loads of them. And we're trying something different. We're trying to go down the route of Frank Lampard, a legend at the club. Does that mean he can be a legend as a manager? I think he can be a legend as a manager. Does he need the time? Of course he bloody does. Of course he needs the time. Unfortunately, with our club, he hasn't got the time. And unfortunately, with society the way it is, unfortunately with the way the world is now, people are not people. Sorry for that sound. People are not patient. People expect things now. They want everything now. Frank's trying to build something. He's lost his best player in Eden Hazard when he came in. He knew that was going to get done. So we've missed that. We had a transfer embargo. The players he's brought in still need to integrate. The one thing I would like to mention before I actually give sort of my stance on how Chelsea have performed for the last month, it was interesting to hear Mika Richards on Sky Sports. For those of you that have watched in England, Sky Sports, Mika Richards was one of the pundits last night. And he said, in regards to players, they need time to gel into the team, especially the ones from overseas, which I do tend to agree at a stage. They do need to gel in, bed into the squad, bed into the Premier League. Thierry Henry didn't like fires at Arsenal immediately. Dennis Bergkamp didn't like fires at Arsenal straight away. Look how they became. Look what they become. Legends, icons, whatever you want to call them. So players like Werner and Havertz need time. But I also hear on the other side of things with Alan Hudson, former Chelsea great, of course, and he mentioned about how these players don't need time. Why should they need to play now. They need to perform straight away. In his day, you didn't get time to bed in. You transferred to a new club, you had to get on with it straight away. If you weren't performing, you was dropped. So it's interesting to see two different players from two different eras having their say. But what's your say? So contact us here on the Blue Day Podcast Facebook page if you want to get in touch, if you want to vent your anger, if you feel that you need to let off steam, the wife's not listening, or your partner's not listening, or people on your phone have decided, you know what, I can't handle him no more, he's driving me nuts about Chelsea. Come on here, we'll listen to you. Not a problem with that. So get in touch with us at the Blue Day Podcast Facebook page. If you want to get in touch with us as well by email, it's the bluedaypodcast@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram, YouTube, and hopefully, like I said before, we will hopefully be announcing some new stuff coming very, very soon. Vince Cable, thank you very much for getting in touch. He's come up with a message. In Frank, we trust. I just hope Roman has some patience. I do agree with that. I hope Roman does have the patience. The key thing is that will he have the patience between now and the end of the season, especially if Chelsea are where they are now, if they're finishing in 8th or even lower. You know, we've got teams below us that are near enough the same amount of points. They're maybe 3 points behind us. I mean, look at Arsenal, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. Arsenal were in a relegation scrap 3 games ago. Well, they're now 3 points behind us. So that tells you all you need to know on the state of the Premier League. And I just want to touch on the Premier League at the moment. You look at what the Premier League, what has happened to it this season. I mean, Liverpool got thumped 7-2 by Aston Villa. United got trounced by Tottenham in their own backyard. I mean, Christ, West Ham are in the top 10. That tells you all you need to know that the Premier League is completely and utterly fucked. You know, it has gone complete bonkers. Should Frank get a free pass this season because of the fact that there's COVID? There's no fans turning up for games. You know, no fans can attend. The atmosphere is obviously dead. Should Frank get a free pass? Some people are saying yes, he should get a free pass until at least the end of the season and see what happens. Maybe even beyond next season. I don't like the fault of fans, and this is one of the things why I wanted to come on here, was the amount of times I've seen it on Facebook groups, and I will name and shame the Facebook groups, not as a criticism, but just more of an observation. The likes of The Shed, Chelsea Raw UK, from Stamford Bridge to Wembley, great Facebook groups. I'm not criticising them at all, but there's just a small tad minority of people that obviously make comments, and that everyone's entitled to their opinion. Jesus Christ, I'm not saying everyone's calm, but the difference between us and the likes of Arsenal Fans TV, if you look at them sort of fans, is I see the comments on certain Chelsea posts, and I'm thinking, am I on Arsenal TV or something? We should be backing our managers. We should be backing the people behind the scenes. We shouldn't be criticising to the point where we're throwing the toys out of our pram. We shouldn't be throwing our dummies out just because things are not going our way. We're Chelsea fans. We've seen the highs, we've seen the lows, we've gone through the lows. You know, someone said to me, excuse me, bear with me, I do need a drink. Someone said to me at work today, are Chelsea for a crisis? We're not going for a crisis. This isn't, for me, this is not a crisis. We lose to Everton, that could happen. We lose to Wolves, piss poor performance. We lose to Arsenal, an extremely fucked up performance. We draw to Villa, that could happen. Aston Villa are having a good season at the moment. And then we go on to play Man City. Man City, yeah, they were missing half their players, but they're still a quality outfit. You look at De Bruyne, former Chelsea guy, Sterling, the likes of Bernardo Silva. These players are still top quality. And unfortunately, we haven't been able to cause them any problems. We haven't been able to cause them any problems. But if you dissect what Lampard has had to put up with, he's had to buy new players because the players that he's got are simply not good enough. He had to bring in Chilwell because the players we had weren't good enough. He had to bring in Thiago Silva because our defence was not good enough. But there are many questions that need to be asked. There are many questions that hopefully Frank, by the end of the season at least, will have answered. Why is Fikayo Tomori not even on the bench or even near the starting 11? Why is, for example, Andres Christensen, who I believe is not the best defender we've got at the club. I think Tomori is a lot better than Christensen. Why is Christensen above Tomori? Why is the likes of Hudson-Odoi, who has performed really, really well, can't get consistent run in the team? Why is the likes of Jorginho still getting game time when he hasn't performed at all well the last few months of his Chelsea career? So many questions need to be asked, need to be answered by Frank. And again, I believe Frank is the right man for this job. No doubt about it, he's the right man for this job. So this is my view on it in regards to where Chelsea should go. They're not going to, they're not going to have a free fall. Fucking hell. I mean, there was a few years ago under Jose when there was defeat after defeat after defeat, and he lost the dressing room. He lost the dressing room massively, and there was unfortunately the point where he had to go. There was no choice. He had to leave for the second time. We were in this 15th, 16th position. I remember we lost to Leicester away, and the day after, Jose was gone. That was a crisis. This isn't a crisis. We're eighth. I believe we're 4 or 5 points behind first place. I think still, maybe even 6 points now. I don't know, but we're not that far. The performances between the beginning of December to now, yeah, they've been shit. They've been bad, but we've got the players to kickstart that. We've got the players, I believe, we've got the players to kickstart that. Werner needs to play in his rightful position, no doubt about that. You can't judge him on one game playing up top. You can't judge him on that. He needs a run of games just to get the flow going, get the juices going, get the juices going in his system. He is a good striker. Everyone knows he's a good striker, and he's a young striker, so he will get better. You look at Hakim Ziyech. Many people were criticising him yesterday. It's his first game back in 3 weeks, 4 weeks? Not going to criticise him that much. Do I think he should run more? Of course. But again, I think he needs to sort of come back to the team and gel and get his flow going. Christian Pulisic, I still don't think he's 100% fit. He looks still like he's carrying a knock. He's carrying something. He's still not there. I'm hoping he doesn't end up in a flop. But we'll talk more about player performances. We'll talk more about players specifically later on. But do I want Frank Lampard to stay? Yes. Do I think he'll stay at least until the end of the season, at least, depending on where we finish? And again, the games we've got coming up, we've got Morecambe in the FA Cup. I mean, if we struggle with that and we lose to Morecambe, then there is an issue. But we've got Fulham, our next Premier League game away. Again, chap at work said, "Oh, Fulham, they're struggling. Chelsea will win that." I'm hoping we do, but there's no guarantees. There is no guarantee at this moment in time. There's no guarantees because absolute nobody in our squad is performing brilliantly. The one person that perhaps would have done well and who perhaps has had a good season has been Reece James. He's been consistent. He's got better from last season. And for me, he has given a lot of leadership qualities moving forward. And there is a little bit of talk as well as I've heard that he could be the next Chelsea captain. So that will be interesting what happens there later on. But other than that, no other Chelsea player has performed brilliantly this season. But you have to look at the facts. Pulisic has had a bad injury. Hakim Ziyech has not had an injury-free start to his season. So it takes time. Werner's out of form. Havertz, we haven't mentioned him. He's a 10. He's not an 8. He's not 6. He plays behind the striker. He's a 10. Unfortunately, in our system that we're playing, he plays a little bit deeper. I would like to see him going forward. I would want Werner up top with Havertz as a 10, with Pulisic on the left, maybe Ziyech or even Hudson-Odoi on the right, with Mount and Kante in the centre mid. Tell Jorginho to fuck off. Tell Kovacic to fuck off. Not good enough. Maybe put in a cheeky bid in for Rice, possibly. That's a conversation for another time, especially on our podcast episode. We will maybe talk about Declan Rice. Is he going to be coming home? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you if you are still listening to watching the Blue Day podcast. Vince has got in touch again. And this is his words, and I quote, "We have been the butt of so many jokes for our hiring and firing policy. I would like to see some continuity at Chelsea. Give Frank time. We can't use this season as a yardstick. Results are all over the place." Brilliant point. Two good results, and we are back up there. I think Roman must be finding himself in unknown territory with our legend Frank Lampard as manager. To sack Frank would take a lot of balls or a major fuck up by Frank. Any silverware will save Frank and Champions League football next season. Vince, thank you very much for that. Just bear with me 1 minute. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. I think the way that Frank can be saved and for him to keep his job would be to get Champions League football next season, whether that's winning the bloody thing, which again, this is a bonkers season, so you never know, or getting top four. Top four's not out of reach. Title definitely, but there was no talk of winning the there was no talk of winning the fucking league anyway. You know, there was no talk of us being maybe title contenders, but not all round title challengers. There was no talk from that. I didn't hear any Chelsea fans say, "Oh, we're going to win the league. We're going to be brilliant. Werner's going to score 30 goals." We didn't. There was no talk of that. There was nothing. But there is a need for progression, and Frank did brilliantly last season to get us into the top four. Bearing in mind we were without Eden Hazard, and we was without new recruits because of the transfer embargo. He did brilliantly last season. I think Frank needs to top that by maybe winning a trophy, FA Cup, possibly. We should have won it last season, but that's by the by. That's gone now. Frank does need to win something. He absolutely does need to win something to maybe win over not just the fans, because I think the fans will always back him. True supporters, and then I'm talking to a lot of people in the Facebook groups who I talk to on numerous occasions on the Facebook groups at times, you know, especially like Chelsea Raw UK and from Stamford Bridge to Wembley. Again, if you're Chelsea fans and you haven't found these Facebook pages, find them. They are very, very good. Um, a lot of them say the same. They want Frank to succeed. They will back Frank because they see Frank as one of our own, and he is. He came to Chelsea for £11 million. He wasn't a top-rated player as much as what people seem to think top-rated players are now, and he made himself the best player or one of the best players we've ever had. He made himself that. He worked his bollocks off, and he's trying to instill that in his team. He's trying to instill that in his team ethos of working your bollocks off and getting the rewards. That's why a lot of the times I see Mason Mount as not like Frank Lampard, but he is very, very similar. So much similar to him that Mount just, again, his confidence looks shot. You know, when was the last time Mount scored a goal? West Brom away? You know, that shot from long distance, maybe. I think that was his last goal for us. So the goals have dried up in midfield. That's one of the main issues that has happened. We haven't got a free-flowing, goal-scoring midfielder that teams need to win leagues. You know, we haven't got that at this moment in time, but that will come. Havertz needs time. Mount needs time. Again, Mount's still a young chap. You know, he's still a young kid. So you look at that. particular situation. And then you look down to our defence. We missed Reece James yesterday, yes. Ben Chilwell, that's probably one of the worst games I've seen Chilwell play, to be honest. Is he still fit? Because there was obviously he had that issue, he had that knock a few weeks ago. He was reportedly rushed back and hasn't been the same player since. Whether that's been an issue, I don't know. But Chilwell for me has been sensational since he's joined for us. He's been playing for Chelsea for many years. Silva, I believe, has also changed the ethos of the team, but it's that partner that he needs in front next to him. Whether it's Zuma, who I think Zuma has improved from last season, definitely. Rudiger, whether or not it's his time to go, I think it all depends on what Rudiger wants. Christensen, as I've already mentioned, I don't think it's good enough for Chelsea. Not anymore. I think he's 24, 25 now. So he's not a young man anymore in terms of potential, in terms of ability. He needs to obviously perform at a higher level more consistently. I think he's maybe only had 2 top games of 2020 that I can remember, whereas Tomori had much more, and he had his youthful exuberance about him. Again, reading through the grapevine, Tomori's not going to get a game, so if he's going to go, don't let him go out on loan, for fuck's sake. Just if you're going to let him go, then let him go. I think that's the other issue that Chelsea have got, because we've got a big squad. Players on high wages, they're not going to go unless the buying club goes, we will fork out the money for that. So, for example, Kepa, he's on apparently 150 grand a week. What club's going to pay 150, maybe even 200 grand a week on him? There's not many. There's not many at all that's going to do that. So we've already caused an issue with that. So we've got a 70 million pound rated keeper that no one's going to buy because of the price tag, because of the wages. So, but we've created that. We've also done the same with Rudiger. Rudiger is on high wages. He's not playing, but our team's gonna, or club's gonna want to pay top dollar for him. Not at the moment, especially with COVID and the way the transfer window is particularly shaping up. These players who have been linked, who's going to come in? Who are we going to bring in to replace them? People keep talking about Declan Rice. Declan Rice, I think, is a good player, and he showed against us a few weeks ago, Chelsea West Ham, when we won the game. Declan Rice was arguably the best player on the pitch, so he showed his capabilities. Is he worth 80 million? Fuck no, no, he's not. Would I want to pay 80 million to West Ham United? No. It depends on if Frank's still in charge. It depends if the club see him as the long-term replacement, maybe for Kante. Definitely long-term for Jorginho, absolutely. But it all depends on what happens with the manager. Is Frank going to stay? Again, I hope Frank stays for the benefit of the supporters getting behind the team. I think Frank needs to stay. I think the ones that are getting tired of Frank, and again, like I said, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Absolutely. I'm not saying that they shouldn't. But the ones that are saying Frank should fuck off, Frank needs to go, just think about it for just 1 minute. Just think about it for one moment of your life. I'm not saying think about it when he was as a player, but just think about the situation at the moment. Yes, we were shit against Arsenal. We should never have lost that game. We were shit against City, but they outplayed us from minute 20. And we were 3-0 down, within 10, 15 minutes? The game was done. Frank's still learning. Bear that in mind. Frank is still learning. He's still quite inexperienced in managing at top level. Do I think Frank can become one of the best managers in the world? Yes. No doubt about that. He's got the brains, he's got the attributes to succeed as a manager. No doubt. Shall we give him time? Listen, this season's fucked up as it is already. I mean,
look where Man United are, for Christ's sake. And Man United, I feel, they haven't got a better squad than us. I say we are equal. In most cases, I say we are most equal. I certainly think we've got a better manager. So it's all about opinions. It's all about opinions. But I would want Frank to stay, fight, keep fighting, keep working his bollocks off. He's got Jody Morris in here with him as well, who, Jody Morris is not going to he's not going to take this line down. He's not going to just go, oh well, fine, that's it. No, he's got that spirit about him. Frank's got that spirit about him. So hopefully we will get the rub of the green. Hopefully we will get something from this. So my prediction for what's going to happen. You've heard me discuss it now. You've heard me jibber jabber on for a while now. My prediction. I think Frank will stay. If the situation continues, then things may be different with what Roman might want. But I'm looking at the situation now, and people are saying about, well, Roman sacked managers for less. Yeah, he sacked managers for less. But look what we've got in the back room. We've got Petr Cech, who is a teammate of Frank's. We've got Marina, who's the transfer queen at Chelsea. She's the one who wanted Frank. She's the one who hired Frank. So Frank's got that core of people that will respect him wholeheartedly, massively, through thick and thin. Will they give him the time he needs? Time will tell. I hope, as a fan of Frank and as a fan of Chelsea, we need to give him our support. It's important we give Frank our continued support through these tough times. Like I said, this season's completely fucked. Spurs could end up winning a trophy. It's getting to that stage where the season's fucked. West Ham are in top 10. They're nowhere near relegation zone. This season's completely fucked. So I'm not telling people what to do. I'm not advocating people should change their minds or whatever. It's all about opinions. My opinion, stick with Frank. See what happens. Frank is probably hurting as much as we are. Frank don't like losing. He's a winner. He's a natural born winner. He's hating this at the moment. I can see that in his post-match interview. He don't want to come on to Sky and say, oh, well, the players tried. No, he wants to give them a bollocking. But he can't do that now because players are quite sensitive. And as soon as a manager criticises them in public, they're going to go to the agent and go, find me another club. Don't want to be here. And then the player has the power. So Frank is obviously got in a corner with that. Fellow Chelsea supporters, I am done. Thankfully, I am done talking, but I will like to say this. If you wish to get in touch with the Blue Day podcast, feel free to get in touch with us on our Facebook page. Feel free to find us on YouTube, on Twitter, Instagram, iTunes. Please like and subscribe us on iTunes. It's very much appreciated. And also find us on, as I said, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, the whole bloody hog. We're not on TikTok or any shit like that, but we are here. We are here for you. We will give you the content, fresh content for you to watch and listen. So subscribe to us. Keep the blue flag flying high. Stay safe. Oh, and one more thing before we go. I will be doing a watch along on Sunday, weather dependent and family dependent as well. I will be announcing it within 24 hours from Sunday, so hopefully on Saturday. I will be doing a watch along of Chelsea Morecambe. So if you haven't got the means to watch the game, or if you're busy and you don't want to listen to TalkSport or BBC Radio 5 Live and that Muppet Robbie Savage, join us on the Blue Day podcast. It will be on YouTube. Find us on there. I'll be doing a watch along while my esteemed co-host is still taking his break. But I'll be doing the watch along, hopefully with a better smile on my face and through to the next round of the FA Cup. fellow Chelsea supporters, thank you very much for getting involved. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe and carefree.